Hey guys, it's BoGa, that's BOGA, and today I kind of want to talk about Overlord Part 4 here for a second because I just finished watching it, and to be honest, I'm a bit disappointed. Now, many people love Overlord, and I loved it as well, particularly Season 1, because mainly it was a different take to the Isekai genre. And if you haven't watched Overlord yet, I bet you've been living under a rock because I bet at this point everyone knows about Overlord mainly because I know you've seen this face before. It's everywhere, especially the waifus that is in Overlord, which is like these two. If I'm like holding it correctly right here, these two. So if you don't know the premise of Overlord, you know it's a guy that gets isekai to another world, by a game of some sorts, and he just stays online, and then he just gets transported into this game because he stayed online too much when in reality he's just fucking dead or some shit. I don't know. But then he went to a conquest to take over the world. Well, it was apparently that's what his conquest was because originally it wasn't. But of course, as the show progresses, the more he demonstrates his true power to these normal humans, and he just basically shows how superior he is. What I really liked about Overlord is that we get to see the opposite side of the perspective, because most of the time whenever we watch an isekai show, we get to see the person who saves the world rather than destroy it. But obviously, world domination wasn't really the main focus of the show, but rather the focus of the show is that finding another player in the world that Ainz or Momonga originally lives in. Now, my thoughts on the show, it was really good. I mean, I really enjoyed season 1, mainly because, as I said earlier, it's a different take to the isekai genre. Our main protagonist is not a person who actually just wants to save the whole world or just slay the Demon King. He is the Demon King himself, which I really liked about it because it's unique at its time. Also, we got the waifus, you know, Albedo, and got Shalltear, and if you're a very degenerate person, you get that guy who controls animals or some shit. And yes, I said guy. I really like the first season mainly because we get to see the whole world. We get to see how powerful Ainz is, how powerful his subordinates are, and how interesting the world is because there are different factions, different kingdoms. And I think season 1 really captured the whole story well, and it really captivated me into watching more of the preceding episodes. But when it came to the season 2, I still really liked it. You know, I still really like season 2 because it was focused more on the world building. It was focused more on the Irantel side, which is like the Adventurers Guild side of the world, which I have no bad thoughts about. I really liked Momonga, which is like Ainz Olgaon's adventurer persona, where he goes undercover into the Adventurers Guild of Irantel and then just basically climb the ranks. I really liked about that, especially Nabe is fucking adorable. I really like them just clapping these villains' asses where seemingly for humans they're impossible to take down and they're very powerful, but when it comes to Ainz or Momonga, they're just literally roaches that he just steps on. And season 2 was really good. I don't mind a good world building in a story, in a show. I mean, at this point of the show, you know, season 1 is pretty good, season 2 is pretty solid as well, but when it came to season 3, that's when it diminished a bit because 3D. It's just one thing that I didn't really like about part 3, which is of course the omega use of 3D. The use of 3D was so bad, you can literally see how underpaid these employees are. It's horrible. What I don't really like about part 3 as well is that we're not getting anything. As you know, with part 1, you know, he was trying to search for this other player that could finally rival him. But when it came to part 3, it was just a huge dick measuring contest at this point. It proceeded through part 4, which I really disliked about the whole show. Not only did the story revolve around the kingdom, it also revolved around the stories of characters I didn't really give a fuck about. Except of course for Gazef, I think he's really cool, as well as Brian, you know, the chemistry between the two where they rival each other but they're still brothers in arms. I really liked that about the show, but of course they literally cut it off. You also got like the princess, which was apparently a vital part of the story, Also the king. Also, just it's just a huge dick measuring contest because Ainz was just showing his power throughout the whole show, and it didn't really focus on the main premise of it, which was trying to find another player who's familiar to Yggdrasil, which is the game this world is supposed to be. Not only did part 3 spent half of the fucking season focusing on lizard men, which was futile to the story in my opinion, mainly because they didn't really introduce these lizard men after like the second half of the show, including part 4. There were just cameos of the characters from the lizardmen tribe, but they didn't really do much. It was fucking stupid to actually show that much story with the lizard men when all they did was get dominated by Ainz at the end, which is I think it was a waste of time, to be honest. And then part 4 came, and then of course episode 1 Albedo comes as well. What I don't really like about part 4 as well is that it didn't really followed up on like the dwarves part of the show, which was like 3 episodes. It took like 3 episodes of the show, and then there's the dragon part, which barely did any impact to the whole story. I think it was a waste of time as well. They also spent a lot of time in the kingdom where they just did a little oopsie, and then Ainz immediately thought, let's just fuck these guys up, which I think was completely unnecessary. I don't think he should have done that. I think the kingdom would have been like a huge asset for them, but yeah, I guess he wanted to demonstrate his true power. Also, what I really don't like about this show is that they've built a story around the Empire. Like most of part 4 was like revolving around the story of the Empire. And of course, what they did was they covered the discord inside the Empire's politics, and we get to see Brian again. Spoiler alert, he didn't really did much because he just died. Of course, Brian dying also leads up to another part that I didn't like about the show, is that they really cheaped out with the fight scenes here because they barely animated any. Like, come on, man. You hyped up Brian for 4 fucking seasons, and all that it takes for him to die is to just go up front, Cocytus, and just get frozen to death. He didn't even stood a chance, and I think that his story being built up like that, I think they should have just gave him a fighting chance. Maybe give us like satisfying fight scene between Cocytus and him. I think it was just so underdelivered. The fight scenes here was so underwhelming. It was literally One Punch Man season 2, and all of the budget was just saved for that last scene of the whole season, which was Princess Renner just singing in a ballroom, I guess, and just, I don't know, contemplating about her having sex with the guy with the silver armor. I forgot his name already because yeah, I didn't really give a fuck about him. Like, part 4 was so underwhelming to me because it didn't really demonstrated most of the capabilities of the people, the characters of the kingdom. They literally were just useless compared to Ainz, and I get it because Ainz is the Overlord. He's the most powerful being in this world, but I kind of want to see them, maybe fight back a little. I get that they're sticking to the whole point that Ainz is absolutely just undefeatable. You can't even land a single finger on him. But the main thing that fed my satisfaction in season 1 was the fight scenes. The fight scenes were absolutely beautiful. Maybe beautiful is a bit of an overstatement, but I really like the fight scenes, especially the fight between Shalltear and Ainz. It just fits the point. It just fits the whole point of Momonga renaming himself into Ainz Ulgon, which is literally the whole like his whole clan's name. So what he did at the end of, obviously if you haven't watched the show, his spoilers, but what he did at the end was he got all of his comrades' weapons and armor, and he fought his most strongest subordinate, which was Shalltear, best girl. That's her full name. With this one, what I really liked about it is that it's just unique, except for the third and fourth season, which was just a dick measuring contest. It was just Ainz showing the whole world how big his dick is. But anyway, I thought that this show was absolutely, it was okay. You know, it was fine. I give it a 6 out of 10 in Mal. I saw that people really liked it. It was an 8 out of 10. I guess these guys were just diehard fans of Ainz-sama, and they really want to get boned by him, like literally boned. But yeah, I just thought that the fourth season was absolutely underwhelming. I hope that they'll make a fifth season, which follows on to the other player part of the story, which made me excited about the whole show, because there is a chance that there is another Ainz, Ulgon, or Momonga, or just another player in general who can actually rival his power, which at the perspective of normal humans, he's basically a god. So if there's another player, that would be very interesting. I think my interest with the show would spike if the fifth season would just follow up on that. But I guess just the conclusion of this video. Season 1 and 2 of Overlord was pretty good. Season 3 and 4 was absolutely shit. If you guys agree with me, like this video. If you guys disagree with me, comment down below, change my mind. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. It's free. Also, hit that notification bell as well so that you can notify whenever I upload my next video. But as for now, that's all for me. See you next video.